Hi there, I'm Eitan, and welcome to Wix Wiz. Today we are going to be building a custom review system for your Wix store. And this is to avoid the need to use some external app, which may not integrate very well with your website or may be costly. And you can really, within however long this tutorial will take, design your own review system that integrates perfectly with your existing Wix store. So let's get started. Okay, so here you see a standard product page from a Wix store, and we're going to be designing our reviews to appear here right under this section where our product page is set up. So we're going to add another section over here, and I'm going to select a blank section. And this is where we're going to be displaying our reviews. Before we actually get ahead to displaying the reviews, we should set up the data or the collection where we're going to be storing the data for the reviews. So in order to do that, first of all, you're going to want to make sure you're in dev mode for this tutorial because we're going to be doing some coding later on. You can go over here to databases, you can go over here to content manager, and in the end of the day, we want to add a collection. So I'm going to click here to create a collection, and I'm going to create a collection called reviews. And this is where we're going to store all the data for our reviews. And I'm going to click create. And after you create your collection, the first thing you're going to want to do is head over to the permissions and privacy and see who can make edits to the collection, who can view the collection. So anybody can view the content. That's what we want. And I've already changed it so that a site member can add content. That means site members will be able to submit reviews, but random visitors to the site will not be able to. And I'm leaving it here on admin can update content, and admin can delete content. You might want to change these at some point. For example, if you want to let users update or delete their reviews, and you can do that by changing this to site member author. And basically, we'll let whoever created that review make changes or delete the review. For now, I'm going to leave it just at this, and we're going to deal with how to let people create reviews. So I'm going to go ahead and save these settings. And here we're going to have to store several data fields. So the first thing we're going to want to store is the text content of the review. So I'm just going to say content. And we're going to be letting people leave a text review and a rating. So the next thing I'm going to want to create is a number field, which is going to store our rating. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save that. And we need to do two more things. Before I do that, I'm going to change the content to be the primary for this collection. And I'm going to go ahead and delete title because we don't really need that. If you want to let people also leave a title in the review, then you can leave that piece of that field as well in the collection. Another two things that we're going to need to do is, first of all, we're going to need to connect each review to a member who created the review. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to use a multi-reference field, and I'm going to be connecting it to the private members data. And I'm going to call this member. And here we're going to store the ID, basically, of the member who submitted this review. The reason I like to use multi-reference instead of single reference is because I've had issues with single reference before, and I found it kind of buggy, whereas multi-reference always works for me, and it works. So that's why I choose multi-reference. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And the last thing we're going to need to do is connect it to a specific product. So this is also going to be multi-reference, and this is going to be our product. And now I'm selecting a product from products right over here. Okay, so you can see that's within the Wix stores section of collections. And I click product and then I click save. And that's all we need to do in terms of setup for our data collection. Now what we need to do is we need to let people submit reviews. And we're going to be letting people submit reviews through a lightbox. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a light box. So let's go ahead to here, and I'm going to go to interactive. And here we have some example light boxes. I'm just going to choose a random one. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all the text that we have here. And I'm going to change the overlay background, and I'm going to make it completely transparent. And I'm going to change the light box. Let's change the design. So I'm going to make the color, let's say, gray. And yeah, that should be good enough for now. Now what we need to do is we need to add some inputs so that people can actually write their review. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, first of all, a text. Go to inputs over here, and I'm going to click text box and click text box. If you want to let people use rich text, then you'll have to change the field type for the content. But for now, I'm just going to choose the simplest option, which is a text box. And this is where people can leave their text review. So here we're just going to say, let's say, what do you think about the product? Question mark. Okay, and the second thing we're going to want to do is let them leave the rating. So we have to go here to ratings, and let's use the star ratings. And we can let them choose a rating right over here. Okay, and all these things can be styled and changed and stuff like that, but I'm really just showing you the basic of the basic. One thing that I will want to do is add a title here. So I'm going to go to text, and I'm going to add, let's say, a heading 4. And this is something that we're going to dynamically change with data. But I'm going to say here, review product. And here we're actually going to put the name of the product later on. But for now, it's just going to say review product. Move this down a bit, and I'm going to make this a little wider so that when we actually populate it with some data, it's wide enough to contain the name. Okay, and last but not least, what we need is we need a submit button. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to find a button. I'm just going to add a plain black button over here. And this is going to say submit. And now we get to write some code. So here within the lightbox, what we want to do is when we click this submit button, we are going to add this review to our reviews collection. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And first thing we're going to need to do is get rid of all this code here. And first I'm going to import Wix data. And I'm also going to import current member from Wix members. And these are going to let us do two things. So Wix members, current member is going to let us check to see who the current member is. So I'm going to first say let member. I'm going to create an empty variable. And then I'm going to create a function. Let's call this function check for member. And this function is going to call the current member method of get member. So I'm going to say member equals, and since this is going to be a promise, we need to make this an async function. And I'm going to await current member dot get member. And what this basically does is it checks to see who the current member, who the signed in member is. And then if there's a signed in member, then member will be equal to that signed in member. And if not, then it'll be undefined. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make this button Whoops. What did I do there? Yeah, I'm going to make this button become disabled if we don't have a member, right? Because we only want members to be able to submit reviews. And this is a front-end protection. So even if for some reason the button does get enabled, they still won't be able to submit a review because we changed the privacy settings and permissions on our database. This is just kind of a user experience indication that they won't be able to submit a review. So I'm going to change the name of the button to Submit Button. And then I'm going to say if no member, then the Submit button dot disable. Okay, so now our submit button will be disabled if there's no member. And then I'm going to go ahead and call this function, so check for a member. Okay, so that's the first step. And now that we have our member, we can go ahead and submit the review. So I'm going to create a event listener. Zoom in here a little bit. I'm going to create an event listener for our submit button. Dot on click. And then inside of here, we're going to run a function called submit review. Now I actually need to write that function out. So let's say const submit review. And this will be a function that will also be async because we're going to need to submit data to a data set. And let's think of what our item here looks like. So I'm going to call this item to insert. Or let's say, no, I'm going to call it new review. For some reason, every time I type review, the E comes out capital as well. So const new review, and this will be equal to an object, which will have content, which is going to be equal to, let's name our text box. I'm going to name the text box content input, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to name the ratings input just ratings input, not rating input 1. And then I'm going to say that content will be equal to content input dot value, and rating will be equal to rating input dot value. And this should be a value between 1 and 5, if I'm not mistaken, for the rating. And then what we want to do is we want to say const new review, again, review item equals to await Wix data dot insert, and then we need the name of our collection for the review. So let's just double check. If we go over here and we see edit settings, then you'll see that the collection ID is review. So I'm just going to go copy that over and zoom out a bit. Close this, zoom back in, and close this. Okay, so we're going to be inserting into the reviews collection, and what we're going to be inserting is new review. Great. And now that we have a new review, so I'm going to say if new review item, if we submit it successfully, then what we're going to do is we are also going to insert references to the member and the product. Okay, so I'm going to say Wix data dot insert reference, and we're going to be also, it's going to be the reviews collection, and the property name that we're inserting to here is member, and the referring item will be our new review item dot ID, And the referenced item will be member.id. Okay, remember we got the member. You remember that we got the member from check for member. Okay, so we have our member. And now what we're going to need is we're going to need the product ID, because basically we're going to be doing the same thing for our product. So I'm going to go over here, and then we're going to be inserting, instead of member, we're going to be inserting to product. And here I'm going to need the product ID. Okay, so this is going to say product.id. And the way we are going to get this product.id is by transferring data to our lightbox when we open it. Okay, so in order to do that, we are going to need to zoom out a little bit. And I'm going to exit the lightbox mode and head back to our product page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a button right over here. That's going to be our add review button. And I'm going to put that right over here. Again, styling, you can do however you want. And this is going to be add review. Okay. And I'm also going to change the name here to add review button. And basically what we're going to do is we are going to open our lightbox when we click the add review button. And what I want to do here is just make sure that our lightbox has a good name. So I'm going to go over here to page code, and instead of announcements we're back, I'm going to rename this lightbox. So this I might need to do here from page menu, and I'm going to go over here and do rename, and I'm going to say review pop-up. And this is what we're going to need in order to open our lightbox. Done. Close this, exit lightbox mode. Excellent. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add an event listener for our open review, add review button. On click. And what we're going to do is we're going to open the lightbox. So to do that, we need to import Wix window. And then when we click, we're going to say Wix window dot open lightbox. And then here we pass in two things. We pass in the name of our lightbox, which is the light review pop-up. And we're going to pass in our data as well. Okay, data. I'm going to say here, review data. Okay, and our review data is going to be the product for which we're leaving the review. And in order to do that, we're going to use the get product method here. So basically what we need to do is say product page element dot get product, and then there is a promise that is returned with the product itself. Okay, so I'm going to say here that we're going to make this an async callback function within the onClick. And I'm going to say const product is equal to await. And then I need the name of the element of the product page. So that should be, let's say, product page 1 in this case, dot get product. And then what I'm going to do is actually, instead of just passing this review data, I'm just going to pass the entire product as data to our lightbox. So when our lightbox opens, it passes the product data to it. And then we can head back to our lightbox. So let's go over here and, this one, and go back to review pop-up. And here, first thing we do when we open the pop-up is here we're going to need to import Wix window as well. And then we're going to say const product equals to Wix window dot, I think it's get Oh, Wix window dot lightbox dot get context. Okay, and that means that this should be equal to product. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to say console dot log product and log the product. And what I'm going to do here now is just check that this is all working smoothly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment, and then right before I do that, I'm just going to change. Oh, we already wrote this as product ID. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to format that, and I'm going to publish my site. And I'm going to go to view site, and I'm going to go to the shop, and let's just select a random product. And here I should have the add review button. And let's just inspect here on the side and check out the console. Okay, so first of all, I saw that, okay, so the pop-up opened because I didn't set the triggers for the pop-up, so it just pops up no matter what. I'll set that when we get back. But we only want it to open when we click add review. Head back here, head to console, and now I'm going to go and click add review. And now we can see here that our product is actually all the information from our product page. And we basically need two things. We are going to need the product name, and we're going to need the product ID for our reviews. That's basically all we need. And you can see also here that the submit button is disabled because I'm not logged in as a member on the site. See, the login is not logged in. So let's go ahead and fix some of our issues and finish this up. So first of all, I'm going to set the triggers for our lightbox. So let me zoom out here a little bit. So we're going to click here, set triggers. And so here it says automatically display lightbox on pages, and I'm going to click no. Okay, so it will not open unless we click the add review button. And then what I'm going to do here is just change the review product text. So I'm going to say that this is called, let's say, title. And as soon as we get our product, I'm going to change the title dot text should be equal to review, and then here I'm going to say product dot name. Okay, that way it'll show kind of here on top, it'll show the name to give a little context that people know which product they're actually reviewing. So let's go ahead and test this out. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger without ruining my site now. Not really. Yeah, good job. Move this back onto the lightbox. Okay, so let's publish this. And I'm going to go back to this page. I'm going to refresh. And what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to log in. And hopefully it'll let me log in. So sign up with Google, let's say. Okay, so I'm logged into the site now as myself. So now I should have no issue leaving a review. So I'm going to go here to add a review and click great. This is awesome. And you can see here that it says on top, review I'm a product, right? I'm a product is the name of this product. And then I'm going to click submit, and nothing's going to happen because we didn't really tell it to do anything after we finish submitting, which is something we should follow up on. But if we go now to our database and we open our review collection, if everything worked correctly, we should see a review item here inside of the collection. So let's see, moment of truth. And you can see here that content, this is awesome, rating 4, member is me, and product is I'm a product. So if you've gotten this far, give yourself a round of applause because you're halfway done. So let's head back to our Lightbox, and I'm just going to add a few more kind of UX perks here. So let's add a text box. And it's going to be really tiny text. And I'm just going to write here review submitted successfully. And I'm going to center it. And I'm going to put it right under the submit button. Yeah, and I'm going to make it hidden by default. And I'm going to change the name to success message. And then what I'm going to do is two things. After we insert this second reference item here, let me just zoom in. After we insert the second reference item, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because this is essentially a promise, so I can add .then after it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say .then, because this .then should really only execute if everything worked correctly. And I'm going to say that success message show. And then I'm going to tell the Wix window .lightbox close. Okay, so our lightbox, so the review box should close as soon as we finish leaving a review. And we'll check that out soon. But what I want to do now is actually display our reviews. So let's zoom out a little bit. And I'm going to close this lightbox, so exit mode. And now I'm just going to be adding the code and the UX for displaying the reviews here on the bottom. Okay, so the way we're going to display the reviews is by adding a repeater. So I'm going to add in list and go down and select a list like this one. And just going to drag the repeater down a little bit. Yeah, so it's under our button. Okay, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the reviews here inside of this repeater. So let's add text. This will be for the content of our review. Whoops. And let's just spread that out wide. Excellent. And I'm also going to add a star display for the reviews. So let's add an element. And this was actually under input, if you remember, where we selected the ratings. And here's ratings display. Okay, so I'm going to click this. And I'm going to put it right above the actual language of the review. And yeah, that looks pretty good. So let's just change up the names of some of these things here. I'm going to call the repeater. No, so this is the container. I don't want the container. I want the actual repeater. So this is going to be reviews repeater. And this will be ratings display. We could just say ratings display. And this will be content. I'm going to move this down just slightly. Excellent. And what we need to do is just set up the on item ready for the repeater. So I'm going to go here and zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to say review repeater dot on item ready. And this is a callback function that takes, it could take up to 3 parameters. The critical ones that we need are item and item data. And then we're going to say that the ratings display, ratings display, and here it's important not to do what I did here. So don't write W, you want to write item. And that basically says that for each item, it'll show something different. And then dot value, I think it should be. No. Value is equal, oh no, there's no value. Ratings display dot rating, maybe? Okay. Let's hope that's right. That is equal to item data dot rating. And our content, so item content, not container, not getting lucky today with the autofills. Dot text should be equal to item data dot content. Okay, and now we actually need to get the data and populate the repeater. So I'm going to create a function that we're going to call populate. Zoom in just a little bit here. Populate review repeater. And this is going to be an async function. And this is going to need to use Wix data. So let me just make sure I have Wix data in here. Import Wix data. And basically, we're going to query the reviews collection for any reviews that pertain to this particular product. So I'm going to say const result is equal to await Wix query, not Wix query, Wix data. Oh my God. Wix data dot query reviews collection. And we're going to be looking for has some. Okay, because the field that we are matching here is a multi-reference field, so we can't use equal, we need to use has some. And the field that we're looking at is product. And we are looking for any product where it's equal to the product ID of this product here. So we're going to need to get our product again. And since we're using it in 2 places, technically I could call it at a higher level and then just have this as a variable, a state variable for this page. But, you know, this is a little simpler. So I'm going to go over here and say has some product ID. And then we're going to find. And then if results dot items dot length is bigger than 0, we're going to say that const reviews equals to result dot items, and then we're going to say reviews repeater dot data should be equal to reviews. And what I'm going to do here is I'm also going to say that we should expand the reviews repeater. I'm going to go ahead here. Whoops. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to collapse it. Okay, so our reviews repeater will be collapsed, and only after we populate it with data, we'll expand it. That way you won't see kind of this ugly layout before we actually have data inside the repeater. And then I'm just going to call this populate review repeater. And I'm going to go ahead and publish the site. And another moment of truth. Let's see how this looks. So I'm going to go ahead to the site. I'm going to refresh. And if everything is working correctly, then we should see one review here on the bottom, as you see right here. Okay, so this is the review that I left before, which is 4 stars. This is awesome. 150 product ratings is not correct. We'll have to fix that. But yeah, here you can see my review. And if I go here, add a review, and I'll submit another review, not great. I hate this product. And I'm going to click submit, and you see that the lightbox closed. You don't see the new review just yet, but if we visit the page again by refreshing, then you'll see that our new review should be here on the bottom. Okay, so we have I hate this product. Let's just go to another product page, and I'll show you that these reviews are not showing up for any other product. So if I go to this product over here, which is a completely different product, then we'll go down and you can see here, no reviews. Okay, and if I add a review for this specific product, 3 stars, okay, submit, and then refresh, and we'll have a review that's only for this product page. Okay, so that's how to set up basic reviews for your website. And again, you can change some of the styling and stuff like that. But as you see I wasn't even counting minutes, but probably close to 20 minutes, we set up a completely customized review system for your website. And I'm going to be continuing now and showing you a few more things. But if you've been watching until now and you're kind of liking this, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's a big deal to me. It makes all the difference. So if this tutorial helped you even a little bit, please hit that subscribe button and invite a few friends to watch the video too while you're at it. So what I want to do now to kind of enhance the experience of our reviews is to, first of all, we need to fix this 150 products rating. So let's go to settings and show the number of ratings. So I don't want to show the number of ratings here because, this is only a one per review. But what I do want to do is I want to show an aggregation of all the reviews together, right? Because you know how you usually see for a product, you'll see, let's say, average, 4.5 stars. And then in each individual review, you can see their review. So let's add that for the product. And I'm just going to add it right over here, right above the repeater. So I'm going to do that by adding another ratings display. So add elements, and then I'm going to go to input, and I'm going to go down here to ratings and ratings and ratings display, and I'm going to add another one of these to my page. And I'm going to put this, as I said, right over here near the add review button. And then I'm going to go here and I'm going to change this to all ratings. Okay, just so I can tell the difference. And what we're going to do is that after we get all the reviews from this product page, except for just populating the reviews repeater, we're also going to calculate the average of all of the reviews. Okay, so the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use something called reduce. So I'm say const average rating equals to reviews dot reduce, and then here we could just say a b, and whoops, this needs to be inside of a function, and then I'm going to say a plus b dot rating. Okay, so this is actually not going to be average rating. This is going to be total ratings. I lied, because basically what this function does is it kind of, I'll explain in a second. And then here we have 0. Okay, so what this reduce does let's see if I could rename it to be more clear. So we're going to have here, instead of A and B, we're going to have total. And here we're going to have review. Okay, just a little more. Okay, now I can explain what it does and it'll be more clear. So basically what reduce does is for each item in an array, it takes it and does whatever you tell it to do in this function with the total, if you pass in the total. So this is the total. This is the aggregation of all of the items, all of the reduce functions. And basically what I'm telling it to do is for each review, take the total of everything that you reduced until now and add the rating to that total. And 0 basically says to start the total from 0. I just tried to explain one of the more complicated JavaScript methods, and I probably screwed up, but I hope you basically understand what's going on. And now I'm just going to say that const average rating should be equal to total rating divided by reviews.length. Okay, simple average calculation. Reviews. Okay, and now we need to say that all ratings dot rating should be equal to average rating. And let's see what else we have here in terms of what I'm going to do. All ratings display element. So I'm opening up the documentation. And hopefully this will tell me how to do the 150 products thing. Oh, here, num ratings sets or gets the displayed number of rating. Num ratings equals num ratings 97. Okay, so I think this should be what we want. So I'm going to say, what else do they have here that we could set? No, that's pretty much it. Okay, I think it's that. So I'm going to say all ratings dot num rating equals total ratings. No, it equals to, that's a lie. It equals to reviews.length. Okay, that's the amount of ratings that we have. Okay, I'm going to click publish and then go ahead to our live site. And I'm going to hit refresh. So here we only have one product review. So we have the average, which is 3 and 3, so it's 3, and one product rating. So that worked correctly. And now I'm just going to add a review, and let's say 2. Submit. And now I'm going to refresh this page, and hopefully we should see here 2.5 in the average rating, as you see here. Okay, so that's how you do like a ratings aggregation. Other things you can do is, decide only to display, let's say, 2 or 3 reviews and then add a show more button. These are all things that you can do here to enhance the experience. But from my perspective, this is a pretty robust review system. And yeah, again, if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have questions, comments, put them in the comments, and I'll see you next time.